They got a real special show they're doing. You know, in wrestling, although it's a dog eat dog, and it's a backstabbing business, and I ought to know I've been in it since I was 16 years old, there's still a camaraderie and a family type thing. Not that we're gypsies or anything like that, but we're all in the common goal of professional wrestling, and oftentimes we run into people that are real special to us in a special way. And it's not like a blood brother, but almost like a soul brother, soulmate type thing. There's a kindred spirit there. Whether it's the wrestling business, the love of it, it's like me as a Christian. I love the Lord with all of my heart, and when I meet other Christians, there's that kindred spirit being Jesus Christ in it that gives us a common bond. And say, for example, when you meet a lot of people in wrestling sometimes, there's that kindred spirit, and it's the love of the wrestling business. And everybody out here that risks their lives wrestling, traveling to the town, doing wild, crazy things in the ring, you build a respect for them. And upcoming, as a matter of fact, Mark here, I knew Mark when he was about 220 pounds, a twisting steel baby, and sex appeal. He was a woman's pet and a man's regret. But back then he wrestled for me. I had a little company up here and we brought a lot of big names in. It was in 90, 91, 92, 93, and I think up to 94, I can't remember. But I'd met Mark then, and he became a great wrestler in his own right. And although he might not have traveled all over the world like a lot of guys, a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of great wrestlers that love their home area so much they don't like to leave it. I can name you tons of guys, but I'll tell you, Mark did an outstanding job. But Mark met a very special guy in wrestling, and they had a kindred spirit in the wrestling. I'll let you tell him a little bit about it. But you know, the Bible says that this life is but a vapor. We're only here for just a little while, and all of a sudden we're gone. And that recently happened with a fellow wrestler, and that had a wrestling company. And we're getting ready to do a big benefit for him in Dayton, Ohio, at the Hare Arena, in the Ball Arena, I think it's going to be. But there's tons of independent professional wrestlers, the cream of the crop that's gathered together in one night, a celebration of life. Although we miss the guy, it's a celebration of his life. And it's perhaps in a great memorial to what he contributed to the professional wrestling business as a promoter, as a wrestler, and not only as a friend. And that's coming up in July the 19th, isn't it?
19th, yes.
And I'm going to be there wrestling for sure. There's a lot of other great guys. I'm telling you, people don't realize there's a lot of great talent. They might not have had national exposure, but buddy, when they get in the ring, they wrestle their hearts out. And we're going to do it that particular night. There's going to be tons and tons of wrestlers and tons of matches. And they're going to give the people more than their money's worth, because I'm going to tell you why. It's not for the ideal to try to make a dime, but it's to help out a person in a time when you can give a memorial to them in their life. You know, and celebrate their life and the great memories. You know, the Bible says, will a man live again? And David said this. David said this when his son that he had with Bathsheba passed away. When that son finally passed away, David got up and cleaned himself up. He said, give me something to eat. You see, he had mourned. He said, I know I'll never bring my son back. He said, but one day I can go to my son. And just like this man that passed away, we're never going to bring him back in the physical realm. But on that night, it'll be a spiritual. But not only that, but one day we plan on going to be with him. Isn't that right, Mark?
Absolutely. You know, for years, myself and Rog Cox, I first met him probably over 15 years ago, and we had that kindred spirit thing going on.
That's right,
you know, and even after his days that he had quit wrestling, it was the wrestling that brought me and him together as friends. But you know, we stayed together after that. And at the time of his untimely passing, he was taking care of 9 family members at the time, you know, and he was on kidney dialysis and everything else. And he used to tell me over the years when we were doing our thing in Dayton, he would say, man, I just don't understand why all these promotions can't work together, can't come together for one night. You know, and on the 19th of July at Dayton's Hare Arena, at the Ball Arena there, you're going to see all the promotions come together. You know, you're going to have War Wrestling, you're going to have Rockstar, you're going to have NWF, LSC, First Class, we're all going to be there under one roof that night, you know, in celebration of, you know, of this event, and we're going to have a good time. You know, we're very thankful that that Bobby's on board, and we're thankful that everybody's on board. You know, to know my friend Roger, if you would know my friend Roger, you would have loved him. He was closer to me than a brother, and you know, we're finally going to do what I think that he wanted to see all along. And like Bobby said, we're going to have a lot of matches there. You know, I think we're up to around 10, 12 matches right now. It's going to be a long night, but it's going to be an enjoyable night. You know, and I just hope everybody comes out and supports it.
It's going to be wild, loud, and unpredictable. July the 19th, there in Dayton at the Hare Arena, Ball Arena. Be there.